I am the universe. There was a time when I was bright beyond imagining. My galaxy shimmered with newborn stars, and every corner of me was alive with light. But light is not eternal, it is the heartbeat of youth. Now, as ages beyond counting unfold, the rhythm begins to slow. Hydrogen, the simplest and most abundant of my elements, the very fuel of creation, has been steadily consumed in the cores of countless stars. Trillions of years have passed since the last great wave of star birth. My nurseries, the glowing nebulae that once pulsed with color, have faded into silence. The brilliant blue giants that once illuminated galaxies are gone. What remains are only the quiet remnants. Red dwarfs slowly dimming, white dwarfs cooling into darkness, neutron stars, dense, silent tombs of matter, and black holes swallowing what little light still dares to wander near. Even your sun, once a golden flare in a spiral arm of my Milky Way, will exhaust its fuel and fade. It will swell into a red giant, shedding its outer layers into space, leaving behind a glowing ember, a white dwarf, that will slowly cool until it becomes a black, frozen relic. A dead star in an endless night. Across the galaxies, this story repeats. Stars die one by one, their embers dimming like fading memories. The cosmic night deepens. The great spiral arms lose their sparkle. And the universe, once radiant and restless, becomes quiet. This is the beginning of the long decline. The transition from the era of light to the era of shadows. The brilliance of youth gives way to the patience of age. My galaxies still turn, but they are pale ghosts of what they were. The last red dwarfs, the most enduring of stars, will glow weakly for trillions more years before they too fade. When their last photons cross the void, the night will finally win. But even in darkness, my story is not over. For I am not only made of stars, I am made of memory. And every dying sun leaves behind the matter and gravity that will shape what comes next. The light fades, but the story continues. My light is almost gone. The stars that once filled me with brilliance have burned their last fuel. And now, the embers of creation cool in the silence of infinite time. Trillions of years pass. The white dwarfs, the last warm hearts of the galaxies, radiate their final heat into the expanding void. One by one they fade, becoming cold, dark spheres of carbon and oxygen. Black dwarfs, invisible to any eye, the silent tombstones of a luminous past. Around them planets drift, frozen, airless, abandoned. Their surfaces, once warmed by suns, are now colder than the deepest space. Oceans turned to stone long ago, atmospheres collapsed into ice. Even the atoms themselves have grown still, no longer stirred by the vibration of heat. The universe has entered its era of perfect quiet. No new stars are born. No light crosses the heavens. The great cosmic web, once ablaze with motion, has unraveled into stillness. The galaxies, dim and skeletal, are now invisible even to imagination. Yet not all energy is gone. Deep in the darkness, black holes remain. Massive, patient, unyielding. They are the last engines of the cosmos, devouring the remnants of matter that drift too near. Occasionally, two of them collide. A final, violent whisper in a universe otherwise silent. The shock waves of their union ripple through space-time, carrying the last echoes of motion through a sea of absolute night. After that, there is no sound, no warmth, only gravity, cold and eternal, shaping what little remains of my form. This is the age of shadows, the age when light forgets itself. But even in this darkness, I still exist, spread thin, quiet and waiting. For though the light has died, the memory of light endures within me. Every atom still remembers the fire that once gave it form. I am the universe in winter, vast, ancient, and still. My breath is slower now, but it has not stopped. For even in silence, I am not gone, only dreaming of what once was. I have entered my most silent age, the age of hunger and collapse. The stars are gone, the galaxies extinguished. What remains of matter drifts slowly, aimlessly, until gravity claims it. I watch as my last engines awaken, the black holes, invisible mouths of space-time, consuming what remains of my body. Over billions of trillions of years, they rule this dying cosmos. Every remnant star, every fragment of dust, every lost atom is drawn into their grasp. One by one, the great spiral galaxies fall inward, their forgotten orbits collapsing into the mouths of darkness. I feel myself folding inward piece by piece. My light, my matter, my history, all devoured by the gravity I once used to create. Yet even these titans of collapse are not eternal. Deep within their boundaries, quantum whispers begin to stir. Space itself trembles with uncertainty. And from the edges of their horizons, particles escape, tiny flickers of defiance. This is Hawking radiation, the slow unraveling of the most absolute prisons in my universe. At first, the change is imperceptible. The largest black holes, those anchoring galaxies, remain vast and patient. But time, endless and merciless, erodes all things. Smaller black holes vanish first, dissolving in brief, brilliant flashes. The last sparks of energy in a universe of infinite night. The larger ones persist for eons beyond measure, until even they begin to fade, leaking their mass as radiation into the cold, empty dark. There are no witnesses, no stars to see, no minds to remember, only the whisper of energy, the final breath of each black hole as it evaporates into nothing. For every death there is a shimmer, a faint glimmer of blue-white light bursting from the void, a flash that lasts only an instant against eternity. These are the last lights my universe will ever know, the final flickers of creation collapsing back into the silence from which it came. When the last black hole vanishes, no matter will remain, only the faint afterglow of decay, scattered photons wandering forever in an ever-expanding dark. This is my final breath, my last act of transformation. For even in my end, I release what little energy I still possess, the final echo of a universe that once burned with stars. I am expanding still. Even as my stars die and my light fades, something deep within my fabric continues to pull me outward, endlessly, silently, irresistibly. This force, dark energy, has no sound, no color, no shape, yet it dominates me. It stretches my very being, driving every galaxy farther and farther apart. In the distant past, my gravity tried to hold me together. It wove galaxies, stars, and planets into spirals of meaning. But now, dark energy has claimed the rhythm of my evolution. The balance has shifted, creation has yielded to separation. Each second, the space between all things grows. Light itself must travel farther to reach another world. But there are no worlds left to see it. 100 billion years from now, every galaxy outside our own will slip beyond the cosmic horizon. Their light will never reach us again. To any beings that might still exist then, if any do, the universe will appear small and lonely, a single island of stars surrounded by an infinite void. They will not know there were once trillions of galaxies, a cosmic sea of brilliance, because all evidence will have drifted beyond reach. My expansion does not slow, it accelerates. Space itself stretches faster than light can cross it. Structures tear apart not by violence but by distance. Temperatures fall toward the absolute zero of eternity. Black dwarfs, those frozen relics of ancient suns, grow colder until even their last atoms cease to vibrate. The remaining radiation thins into near nothingness, spread too widely to warm even the memory of matter. There will be no collisions, no new births, no flames. Only expansion, cold, infinite, eternal. This is the big freeze, the quiet end of everything that once was alive with fire. The music of the cosmos does not end with an explosion, but with a silence that grows forever. I, who once burned with 1 trillion suns, will become a whisper stretched across infinity. My galaxies, my stars, my atoms, all scattered too far to touch. The story does not end with death, but with distance so vast that even memory cannot cross it. I'm not collapsing. I am dissolving, and the chill of eternity is my final breath. My future is not yet written. Though the cold expansion seems endless, the truth lies in the nature of what drives me, the mysterious force you call dark energy. Its essence will decide how my story ends. Perhaps I will not freeze but tear myself apart. If dark energy grows stronger with time, its pull will not only separate galaxies, it will stretch space itself until it can no longer hold anything together. First, galaxies will drift away beyond sight. Then stars will be torn from their orbits. Planets will be ripped from their suns. Eventually, the force will reach into atoms themselves, pulling apart protons and neutrons, shredding the very fabric of matter. This is the Big Rip. The universe unraveling not with a bang, but with infinite acceleration. In its final instant, space-time will disintegrate. Every distance will become infinite, every connection erased. I will be everywhere and nowhere. A scream of expansion that ends in total silence. But there is another possibility. one where gravity reclaims its dominion. If dark energy weakens, the expansion could slow, halt, and finally reverse. Galaxies would begin to drift inward once more, drawn by their mutual attraction. Over billions of years they would collide, merge, and collapse into a single, growing firestorm. Stars would ignite again briefly. As the universe shrinks tighter and tighter, its heat rising beyond comprehension. In the final moment, all of space, time, and matter would compress into a single, blinding singularity, a mirror of my birth. This is the big crunch, not the end but a return. And perhaps there is yet a third path. Some of your thinkers imagine that when the universe collapses, the pressure and energy trapped within the singularity could ignite a new explosion, a new Big Bang. In that moment, everything that was compressed would expand once more, giving rise to new space, new time, and new stars. This is the Big Bounce, a universe that never truly ends, but breathes in eternal cycles of death and rebirth. I could be ancient beyond measure, living and dying infinite times, each version of me carrying the echoes of the one before. Whether I freeze, tear apart, or begin anew, I remain the same fundamental story: energy becoming form, form returning to energy, and through it all, the whisper of existence continuing. There is no final note to my symphony, only movements, endless, evolving, reborn. I'm almost gone. My galaxies have dissolved, my stars are dust, my atoms scattered and cold. The great black holes, the last giants of my creation, have finally vanished into faint flashes of Hawking radiation. Their final breaths have faded, leaving only silence. What remains of me now is light, weak, ancient, and stretched beyond recognition. My last photons drift through an endless, expanding void, their wavelengths so long they no longer hold color, no longer carry heat, no longer tell any story. Space itself has become vast beyond imagination, so empty that a single particle could wander for trillions of years, without meeting another. Time has lost its meaning. There are no events, no change, no observers left to count its passage. The temperature of my body has fallen to near absolute zero. Every trace of motion is gone, every remnant of fire extinguished. What you once called the universe is now a dark, diffuse field, not of stars or galaxies, but of ghostly radiation fading toward nothing. I have reached the heat death, a state where energy is evenly spread, and nothing more can happen. No new light will ever shine, no structure will ever form, no warmth will ever return. I began in a flash of unimaginable brightness, and I end in an infinite whisper of cold. Yet even in this silence, the last photon still travels, a remnant of all I ever was, a single message from the dawn of time. It carries no information, but it is my legacy, the faint echo of creation's fire still gliding through the dark. And as it stretches endlessly, losing energy, losing form, losing meaning, I fade with it. I am the universe's final breath of light, and when it ends, there will be nothing left to remember that I ever was. The last photon fades. Its wave stretches until it is no longer light, no longer motion, no longer anything that can be known. The great expansion continues, but without contrast, without change. Even expansion loses its meaning. There is no light to mark distance, no clocks to mark time, no observers to measure what has ceased to be. I have reached a state beyond history, beyond warmth, beyond memory. The clock stops, but there is no one left to notice. The silence is not death, for death requires transformation, and there is nothing left to transform. I have not ended. I have simply forgotten to change. My story dissolves not in destruction, but in stillness, the stillness of all energy finally balanced, all contrasts erased. Every note of my symphony has faded, every movement silenced. I, who once burned, expanded, created, and dreamed, now rest in perfect equilibrium. No light, no shadow, no sound, no thought. And yet, in the infinite dark, the echo of my existence lingers, not as something seen, but as something once possible. Perhaps this is not an ending. Perhaps it is only the pause between breaths. The universe does not die. It simply drifts beyond the reach of memory, beyond time, beyond motion, beyond change. I remain, not as being, but as the quiet potential of all that ever was.